I don't think it should matter what more we learn about the gunman, right? I think we know enough. We know enough that it's pretty clear to me that anybody that chooses to shoot somebody has been radicalized. And it's pretty clear where all the radicalization comes from. It comes from our online discourse. It does not come from our face-to-face discourse, but it comes from us. It comes from our political discourse. So our political discourse radicalized this person and that's what happened. I know others are going to be looking, to scapegoat the trans community. Here, that's only going to make things worse. To try to go down that road, but I think we all know that's where many might be headed on the right. And that's likely to be met with its own set of resistance and its own in a way that is, likely that we will spiral downward further rather than trying to figure out how we can stitch this back together. I think the place to start is obvious. It's big tech. It's the algorithms. It's how we share information. It's not just how politicians talk, it's how the language is shared. It's what's surfaced. It's the whole thing. And it's pretty hard to fix. I've been thinking about this all weekend, and as much as I feel pretty convinced that I know this is the core problem, that this really is, it's this, good luck fixing it. Especially when there are people who have gotten political power based on it. And that's why I think this is until the voters, ultimately it's us that have to decide we want a different path. We have to decide that we're going to take the politics of unity over, that we're going to take a breath from our own ideology for a 2-year or 4-year period simply to bring peace. And to try to, I've said America needs a pastor for patriotism. 2024, I thought that person might be Bill McRaven. 2025, it looks like the pastor for patriotism might be Spencer Cox. But he can only succeed if we want to listen. One of the ways to solve our information ecosystem issue is that we've actually got to, we do need to have a media that finds a way to make room for multiple ideologies and multiple sides of a conversation. We've gotten this shorthand that the left and the right likes to use, both siderisms, right? It's a little bit more of a criticism from the left than it is from the right. But what it really is, it's when nobody from the middle ever uses both siderisms. It's usually an ideologue and a hard partisan on the left or right that does, because they want to disavow an argument. No, that's right, that's wrong. And they've accused people in mainstream journalism, or in what some of us call independent journalism, however you want to describe it, that somehow you're equating it. And it's like, no, what you're trying to do is bring everybody into the same room so that everybody faces similar accountability tests. And I happen to be somebody who believes that if you present, here's what one side is saying, here's what the other side is saying, I'm not going to treat you like an idiot. I'm going to do my best to test both theories of the case and let you come to your conclusion of which path might be better. And so if you don't take a competing perspective seriously in your news coverage, if you claim that you are doing journalism, you're not going to be seen as an independent referee, number one. And you're going to be missing out on interesting arguments and better ways perhaps to defend your beliefs. Journalism's credibility doesn't, come from pleasing one side. It comes from proving fairness, proving that you will give every actor every chance to be heard, even when their arguments are weak. Because in some ways, that's the best way to expose a weak argument. How often they have nothing to say. But if you don't give them a chance, then people retreat to their corners and retreat to their corners, and everybody retreats to their corners. And when they think they're not getting a fair shot in either way, then everybody just says, forget it. And I'm just going to preach to my choir. And I don't even want to tune in to listen to your other choir. But here's why presenting, if you can be a place that can get people from all sides to participate, it actually forces more accountability, and it forces more collective accountability. If you have politicians, corporations, activists, and institutions all having to go to the same places to talk and to make their case, then we'll have shared reality. We'll have shared debate. This lack of a shared reality, this lack of shared debate. And you know what a both sides framing actually ensures? That no one escapes scrutiny, even those aligned with what you may personally believe. True accountability means discomfort. And that means you should be a little uncomfortable having to defend yourself. But if your ideas are sound, then you'll get more comfortable doing. And in a pluralistic democracy, which is what we claim to be, multiple perspectives have to be able to coexist. And if we try to create a situation where we're going to get rid of an ideology because we don't like it, this radical ideology over here, radical ideology over there, do you think you can just get rid of it? You'll end up perhaps giving more attention to it and having it untested at the same time. I mean, there's no better way to showcase America than when you have people who disagree with each other appearing together. That's something we don't see as often as we used to. It was a staple of political talk shows of the 80s and 90s. And for about 18 months after 9/11. That has completely and utterly disappeared. And do realize that if you hate our information ecosystem, it's because we don't have any both sides vehicles anymore in the mainstream. We have outrage media. And outrage media thrives on one-sided coverage because it deepens audience loyalty, pure and simple. Right? Megyn Kelly, Pod Save America, they have a loyal audience. They cannot ever veer from that too often. Every once in a while, they can tell their audience what an uncomfortable truth. But if they do it too often, they'd lose their audience. If you're an activist and you're organizing for a political party, maybe you can rationalize that. But it's not journalism. And if you're doing both siderisms right, it means you're listening to all sides. And then you test the claims against actual evidence. Now look, there's lazy both sidesisms, right? When reporters just lazily equate facts with opinion, scientists say climate change is real, critics disagree. That's stupid both siderisms. What you do is you lay out the arguments. Here's what climate scientists are saying. Here's those who think that this is they're making an argument that says that climate science is overreacting, and here's why. The question is, what are we going to do about it? But I tell you this, it's in moments of this huge political division that I miss the times when we had where people that, regardless of the side of the aisle you were on, you felt like you were welcome pretty much in any political talk show, in any political green room. And I don't think anybody thinks that right now.